Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. That's Ricky. I'm Roger. Welcome to the show. We're doing a show today. It is Sunday at 8 p.m. and we are live. We're doing a show today about Reds prospects, about Reds topics. We've been in the podcasting game, researching this team for so long, Ricky. It's been 9 months pretty much since we started this, or at least even before that, when we were getting all prep, maybe getting closer to 10 to 11 months of prep time that we've been working on this. So we feel like we got a pretty good handle on Reds prospects, Reds organization from top to bottom for the most part. If you're here for the first time, please like, comment, subscribe to Red Hot Reds. We're on YouTube. We're on All Gloves Off, sports media, YouTube. We're on Instagram, X. You also got TikTok and Substack. We got all that kind of stuff for you for Reds content. So please like and subscribe to our videos. It gets the algorithm going and all that good stuff. And we're also coming off of Thanksgiving week. And, you know, we're going to talk about things that we're grateful for. Ricky, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. Spent some time with the family. It's always nice to unwind and get a couple days off of work and just kind of relax a little bit. But yeah, probably gained 3 pounds on Thursday, but here we go, you know. What about you?
Yeah, it's been relaxing. I've been getting a lot more sleep lately, which is good. And it's been super cold, and it just feels like you don't want to go outside anyway. So we're starting to get to that point of the Cincinnati weather, tri-state weather, that you're just like dreading having to start your car up in the morning. And, you know, it's you go to work early, and I go to work decently early on most days, so it's like getting out there on the roads, and hopefully they get salted, and if there is any snow, hopefully they get, the snow gets plowed away, but we'll see. Hopefully not so much early. We did get some snow yesterday, I think, and then it even stick around. It melted before we woke up the next day, so I don't know.
It was raining pretty late last night, so it was, thank God.
Well, yeah, thank God that we have a couple topics here right before we get into the meat, where we're going to rank our top 30 prospects. We're going to get into all that because we've got some guys that may be different than some other rankings, maybe different than the Reds' internal top 30 prospects. But before that, the topic that I wanted to lay to rest finally, hopefully for the last time, is the Hunter Greene rumor, the rumor that he's going to get traded. I think the holiday has finally put it to rest. I haven't heard anything. I'm not trying to bring anything up, but the reason why that I'm kind of bringing this up as well is that on the official Reds account for X, they had a happy Thanksgiving, and Hunter Greene made the cut along with your guy Marte, Ellie De La Cruz. I think they had Sal Stu and Chase Burns on there as well, along with Friedel, all that. So, like, those guys I think are safe for 2026. I think the Reds value them enough to put them in a little Charlie Brown-esque cartoon. So I guess I ask you, Ricky, here, like, is this rumor finally dead?
Yeah, but you know who I didn't see on that list? I didn't see Nick Lodolo on there. And I didn't see CES. I didn't see, Spencer Steer wasn't on there.
I think Andrew and Key Brian Hayes were the other two.
I don't want to start any rumors or nothing, but my hot take a couple weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Reds fans really read into the tea leaves this time of year, especially when the bobblehead announcements come out, and there's no Hunter Greene bobblehead, I don't think, this year. So that's kind of like, oh, well, see, they don't value him enough to make him a bobblehead, but they put him on the graphic for Thanksgiving, so all's good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they're thankful for him at least.
Yeah, for his past work, maybe not his future work, I guess. Oh, that hopefully we're not starting anything. But, you know, the main guys there that I think we value Burns and and Stewart, and obviously Ellie and Hunter and your guy Marte, and I guess TJ Friedel also makes the cut as well. Even though that we feel like he could be a guy that possibly could be dealt, could be at least maybe, I don't know, not necessarily huge trade bait, I don't think, but could possibly be on the block if it's they need to make space for maybe Hector Rodriguez if he's the next center fielder for us, or even if Will Benson's still around, he can be part-time center fielder. So I don't know. I guess I'm trying not to be that type of Reds fan looking into every single media post that they do or do not put out there, so that you can figure out what they're thinking internally. But we've come to see through Mark Sheldon's reporting and even Gordon Whitmire's reporting that this was not just a small thing. But I feel, at least today, November 30th, 2025, Hunter Green will be our starting pitcher on opening day, barring injury, barring whatever else, health-wise and whatnot. So I think we can finally lay this to rest. Rest in peace.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Well, another hope for these Reds is like the free agent signing, the big trade. There was such a commotion that I even amplified it a bit. A guy on X, I don't know if we want to give him a shout out or not, but the kindling was there on Reds Twitter, on Reds social media for some sort of rumor, some sort of thing going into Thanksgiving week, which it happens from time to time, right? Like when, there's nothing to, there's no news. There might be something happening behind the scenes that will come out. And there was a guy on X that posted something that he heard that the phone reps for ticket sales or something like that at the Reds organization was to basically like come in on an emergency, like the week of Thanksgiving, because there's going to be a lot of people trying to call in and get their tickets. Even our guy Clay Snowden kind of made a joke of it, saying like, I was waiting for this big news to call the Reds front office to order my season tickets, and I guess it just never came. And it never came, and it kind of shows like where the state of the fans are right now, that they're just waiting for something, anything. Give us some red meat. What was your takeaways, Ricky, from that kind of stuff that's been happening on X?
Yeah, I think it's just silly, just trying to get clicks on social media. We saw what happened with Clay today on Twitter, and I thought that was just funny. It's like the guy doesn't have a check mark next to his name. Obviously, he's not getting paid for his tweets, and he's had a couple tweets that have had millions of views, and like I think that's just what it is. Would I have liked to have seen something? Yeah, sure, but I think realistically, when the Reds signed their big three, that was closer to January, right? When they signed Castellanos and Akiyama and Moustakas, because they kind of all like got introduced together, right? If I remember right, or at least two of them did.
Yeah.
I don't think we see anything big, quote unquote, for a few weeks. I think if we see anything, it'll be a trade first. I don't think we'll see a free agent signing. Although, you keep seeing the Kyle Schwarber rumors, and I found this on Twitter, and I don't know why that popped up.
It was a hotkey.
But but there's that there, who will sign Kyle Schwarber, and shoot, the fact that you see the Reds logo right there in an MLB tweet kind of gives you hope that something like that could happen. Yeah. And whether it's Schwarber, if it's not Schwarber, I want somebody who has the kind of power pedigree that he has. I want a Suarez type player, but to see an off-season rumor with a top free agent available with that Reds logo front and center right next to the Phillies logo. Maybe those two are the front runners for all we know. Who knows? But it is funny just when you see stuff like how you had mentioned with the the season ticket phone lines. It's like, well, obviously, like season tickets are on sale. Like you could buy season tickets, or it was Black Friday week,
Mm-hmm.
so they had a sale for the Reds heads and Reds rookies. They probably expected a lot of phone calls for those. So I mean, it could be anything. It could have been somebody called off work and they had to have some extra people come in. Who knows? It could be anything.
Yeah, I think what you were saying is closer to the truth than there's something coming down the pipe that's going to be huge news and whatnot. That graphic is great. That graphic kind of reminds me of what I'm seeing, like NFL graphics of like the playoff picture and like in the hunt, and the Reds are in the hunt. But then also I saw a graphic. I think it was Thanksgiving Day watching the Bengals. And in the hunt picture had the Browns at 3-8. And I'm like, they are not in the hunt. No way. No way. No way.
You don't
no way,
think
no
Shedeur State is going to carry that team to the playoffs?
Yeah, sure, maybe someday, but not now. Not the way that they're presently set up. And it's a bit of a stretch to have even the Bengals kind of in that. I think we're just trying to shoehorn the Bengals to be in the hunt because of how well Burrow was playing, et cetera, and demolishing the Ravens on that night. But like, that's what the picture. The Pirates were in the hunt on that one. And I was like, not really, not today.
The Pirates is like in the bubble. It's like outside looking in.
Not even. Not even. They're just like, I don't know. Anyway, and they're not an NFL show, but that's what that kind of graphic reminded me of. And yeah, the guy got some more followers from that viral tweet, to be honest with you. And like I said, I amplified it, sent it around to some people and whatnot because I was like, hey, this guy's got a source. Obviously, no one else had any kind of any type of reporting like that either. And I'm pretty sure you're right. They just got some extra phone reps to come in because they extended their no-fee tickets till Friday. So they're like, oh, there's going to be people who are going to call in on Black Friday. We can feel it, as Bob Castellini counts all his pennies that are no longer being produced in our mints anymore. So
maybe he's going to start selling those pennies because he might be worth a little extra.
I mean, it is kind of weird that we've been producing pennies in this country and it takes 3 cents to make 1 penny. So it's a bit of a mind scratching or a head scratching type of thing that we've been doing lately. But
put my tinfoil hat on, but inflation's a scam. Continue.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just like I think because of the holidays, things kind of slow down a bit. You're at home a little bit more. Maybe you're looking at your social media a little bit more. It was just right for someone to come in and say, there's something happening. And obviously, any social media thing that gets amplified, everyone thinks, obviously, anything put in writing is true. So don't believe what you read all the time. Luckily, the Reds didn't trade anybody. Although I did tell you I had that dream that Tyler Stevenson got traded, and I couldn't tell if it was a happy dream or an unhappy dream. I think I told my wife that he just got traded for prospects, and I was kind of like, yeah, sounds about right.
Makes sense. Checks out.
Yeah, a guy last year of control, not really getting too much for him. A bit of maybe the Alexis Diaz kind of PTSD maybe coming back and being like, oh, we didn't get enough for him type of thing. So, but neither here nor there. Any other thoughts about your guy, Cody Bellinger's still out there in the free agent. That's the one thing that I guess, in the absence of any actual trades or signings, there is always hope, especially even for like a team like the Reds.
Yeah, the sad part is Scott Boras makes his players hold out until the last minute, and then when they do sign, they're just not prepared.
Yeah, that's true. Bellinger did that a couple years ago, right? When he was with the Cubs or right before. I can't remember, but yeah. And same thing with his other guy, the pitcher that's now in Snell. Same thing. Yep.
Same thing happened to the one. Oh God, I'm terrible with other teams' players' names. The pitcher for the Diamondbacks, where he signed with the Diamondbacks, and then it was just terrible.
Yeah,
he was like a Cy Young finalist.
Jordan something.
Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah,
sound right? Yeah, that's it.
Lefty.
There it is. Yeah, he was in the World Series, right, for the Rangers, and then he
sounds right.
Signed with the Diamondbacks. He beat the Diamondbacks, and then he goes and joins the Diamondbacks, and just whatever it was didn't work out in his favor. Not at all.
Speaking of a 2023 Ranger, Adolis Garcia is still out there too.
Yes.
A guy that could very well be a Red if obviously we miss out on the big guys. And get a guy that's kind of a reclamation project because his 2024 and 2025 were not great. Yeah. I mean, I think 19 homers still for him last year, but like a 230 batting average. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to kind of have a little reclamation project, maybe a little bit of an upgrade from, Andahar a bit. They're about the same age, 30, 32, 33. So
32, yeah. I think Andahar's 30.
okay. So it's still an
They're
upward,
close. They're close.
Yeah. A post 30 player that who knows if their swing profile is exactly what Chris Felic is.
Lane Thomas.
He's still out there, yeah. So
Hey, he could be your project, man. I got roasted on Facebook for that one, but I don't
Really?
care, man. His numbers are just crazy in Great American Ballpark. Shout out to Mike for showing me that one.
Yeah, and yeah, before we get into anything like that, shout out to All Gloves Off Sports Media. They've been doing great stuff. Like Mike and Cheese have been putting out a bunch of videos about college football, professional football. It's that time of year. It's football, family, and food type of year or time of year. So it's like they've been really cranking it out. So shout out to them. They've been trying to get stuff out. Shout out to Cheese. He's been really cranking it out. I think he does like a video or two every single day, and he's been growing his subscribers. So like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. It'll help us grow. And also, we'd like to shout out our sponsor for this show. It is Battle Bites. And right there, Battle Bites. Use the promo code AllGlovesOff10 for 10% off your order. It also, when you make any purchase, it will contribute 10% of their profits, I believe, to the Wounded Warrior Project, which is great. We got all sorts of flavors of jerky and whatnot, so go check it out there. You can get your 10% off code right there again, All Gloves Off 10. So shout out to Battle Bites, really appreciate it. They're a startup, so they're trying to grow too, just like us. We're not even a year into this, but we're really enjoying it. We're really thankful for all the fans that have been interacting with us, guys that we've had come on the show, and we'll get to that a little bit later about what we're grateful for in our toward the end of the show and whatnot. But the main show, unless I turn this thing off all the time. Anyway, the main part of this show, we're going to be going into our top 30 Reds prospects, and these are guys. The prospects listing for different sites and even the Reds internal one or whatever is always a bit confusing because there'll be guys on there that have made major league debuts. There've been guys that have been playing most of the season maybe for the Reds and whatnot that kind of show back up there, or maybe they had an injured season. Like a Rhett Lauder is somehow still a Reds prospect, even though he debuted in 2024. For this list that Ricky and I kind of put together, I kind of excluded the guys that are beyond their rookie status for, basically the MLB's service time kind of clock on them. So guys that didn't make the list that sometimes are included in prospect rankings is like Rhett Lauder, Chase Burns, Julian Aguilar, Tyler Callahan. Those guys have been kind of on some different lists and whatnot. But for this list, these are for guys that could be a rookie status in 2026. So, a guy like Zach Maxwell still makes the list for us. And you'll see where he gets put in there for us and all that. But, any other little things you want to point out before we get into this list, Ricky?
No, stay tuned for the top 10 because I like your top 5.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I don't know. I don't know if I want to explain also kind of how I made my list, and I don't know if we want to do that throughout or at the beginning or what.
We can do it throughout.
Yeah. So I've got a little bit of a different philosophy in terms of like if this is a prospect list, like these guys should be not necessarily right there on the edge to helping, but they should be able to help the team.
Yeah.
I understand like a guy like Arnaldo Lantigua, like he's like just coming off the DSL season, just promoted to the A, but like he's probably 2028 arriving or whatnot,
something like that. Yeah,
but he's still a great prospect because of all the tools that he has and whatnot.
He could be an unbelievable player.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to preface that I value guys that could be here sooner than later a little bit more than maybe guys that are not going to be here in like 4 or 5 years and whatnot.
Right.
But
right.
There's still like a bunch of guys that are, definitely going to be great prospects that are in the top 10 that aren't going to be here in 2026. If that makes sense.
I don't want to say it's like a shocking list. I was just stay tuned.
Yeah. I've seen some lists around. The Reds list always confuses me because there's some guys that I don't know. I haven't heard of, or at least keep a lot of tabs on that they seem to value a lot. And that's Sheldon again. So I'm not trying to shade Mark Sheldon here. He obviously gets probably information from the Reds org to basically say like, oh yeah, this is a guy that we kind of value, kind of thing. It goes both ways, right? He can get good information about Reds players, and he can get maybe some, tea, some gossip and whatnot.
Yeah, he's probably got some people in the organization who are high on people and who aren't high on people, and yeah, must be nice.
So this is based on what we've seen, what we've been really researching about for our last 9 to 10 months of following the Reds minor leaguers, and we're gonna go down from 30 to 1, right, Rick? So
yes, I got them broken up into 10-player segments.
So if you're ready, we're gonna break down now number 30 down to 21, and I'll run through it pretty quickly, and then we can highlight some guys, talk about some guys, Ricky, as we go along, and I'll flip it over to you. But at 30, we've got Ty Floyd, right-handed pitcher. I think he's in Daytona, but had like an injury-riddled season. 29, our guy Trevor Kunsel, right-handed pitcher for Chattanooga, Double-A team. 28, Cole Schoenwetter, right-handed pitcher, A Daytona. And Angel Salillo, Dominican Summer League player, 27. 26, Pablo Nunez, our guy, ACL, red. 25, Ethan O'Donnell, outfielder for Chattanooga. 24, Alfredo Alcantara, infielder at low A. Just got promoted to Daytona, I believe. And 23, JP Ortiz, right-hand pitcher, Daytona as well. Luke Hayden at 22, Dayton pitcher. And Arnaldo Lantigua, outfielder for your Daytona Tortugas. What do you got here for us, Rick? What do you anything stand out, or any guys you want to highlight?
Yeah, a few things. I guess I could just say this. I am a huge fan of Pablo Nunez. I just love his style of play. It's scrappy. It's, he's quick. He's sneaky power. He's just full of energy. I see I don't know. I see a lot of Ryan Friel in his game, but he has potential to be like a better version of Ryan Friel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's just cannon for an arm. He's quick. Like he's in Australia right now, and he's leading the Australian Baseball League in hits, and he's just turned 19, and he's was a mid-tier signing in the same class as Adolfo Sanchez. So like he's proving himself where he needs to. Like I think obviously he needs to put on some weight or muscle weight or whatever it needs to be, but that kid has a lot of potential. Also our guy Trevor Kunsel, he'll be I think the oldest player on this list, but he he's still could technically fall under the line of prospect just based off of professional career. He's had a difficult path to where he's at, but he's making the most of it. He had 20 saves, I think, last year for Double-A, his first affiliate year in affiliate ball. And he goes out and has an ERA under 3 and has 20 saves. I think he only had 3 blown saves. Really good player. I like him a lot. Plus a really good dude. And then I guess another one that just kind of under the radar is JP Ortiz. He's sneaky fastball, upper 90s, and if he can get his control down, he could be a really solid 3 through 5 type rotation pitcher.
Yeah, for sure. This list is like a lot of guys that have kind of, outside of Trevor had a fantastic season, which I think is why I pushed him onto the top 30 for me. But some of these guys have kind of had some incomplete seasons. Like Luke Hayden had an up and down year. Ty Floyd, as we pointed out, had some injuries and whatnot. So like this is, and then Pablo Nunez kind of coming onto the scene is kind of a really of lately thing. Cause like you said, in the Aussie Baseball League, he's been killing it. But I think we need to, kind of shine on some of these guys that haven't made the list yet. So I just wanted to try to get him included on this list because I think he deserves it.
He set a record for the highest on base percentage in DSL history this past season. So it's been a consistent thing throughout this calendar year for him.
Yeah, and definitely I think Arnaldo Lantigua is on the top end of this 30 to 21 list because he had a great DSL season that landed him in the ACL and then the ACL onto Daytona. So he's really kind of moving up the ranks, I think, pretty quickly, and they really value him, especially because our outfielders are a little bit shaky on this list. I think outside of him and Ethan O'Donnell and then a couple others, we don't have a terrible amount of outfielders on our top list, and a lot of people don't either. And obviously our guy Clay has kind of told us about how we have a little bit of a depth problem at outfield. So hopefully, we can get Antigua possibly in Dayton sooner than later. But yeah. Anything else on these guys before we move on to the next couple?
Yeah, I guess I would just like to see a more consistent year out of Luke Hayden this year. I know he started out pretty well this past season, but he really kind of fizzled off. And then unfortunately for Ty Floyd, he had Tommy John in July or June, somewhere around there. So he's going to be out for a little while, but still has a lot of upside if he can come back and still show that he has a lively fastball like he used to.
And yeah, I was actually, I guess I didn't disclose this when I was going back and forth with you. Nestor Laurent and Ty Floyd and like Cole, around those guys were like really close neck and neck. And you could probably put like a Nestor Laurent instead of a Ty Floyd at 30, just because he had like a 2-10 record, but he still got, I think, promoted from Daytona to Dayton and pitched a little bit better in Dayton. So like they're all kind of right around that same level. Hopefully, at least Cole will be coming in this season healthy, and same with Nestor Laurent. And hopefully they can take some steps forward this year or next year in 2026.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, for our next ones, we're going to go 20 to 11, right?
Yes.
For our next list. So, and these guys are a lot of guys that we really like. We've really seen grow this year and have lots of potential. 20 is our guy, our unicorn, Sheng-En Lin, who's a pitcher and a DH, was an ACL, got promoted to Dayton this year. A guy that's in high A, Dayton, Ricky Cabrera, really high on his skills. And with Leo Balcazar moving up, it's going to give him a lot more space there to play, a lot of infield, a lot of shortstop probably. Mason Neville, a 2025 draft pick, right? He was the third
or fourth round pick out of Oregon.
Right, a guy that was really like a sleeper pick that came out of nowhere and just started hitting. That got the Daytona Tortugas, I think, a nice winning streak at the end. And they got into their playoffs, right, in the Florida State League. So like he had a pretty good end to his season after being drafted straight out of college. 17, Liberts Aponte, guy that's DSL into the ACL now, but like lots of potential at shortstop for him. A guy that I put up here higher on this list than probably a lot of other people, Zach Maxwell, because he's already made his debut, and he's also a guy that could be on the 2026 roster if he has a good spring training, or he might just start in AAA Louisville and be, probably one of the first to be called up along with him and Luis May, if Luis May isn't on the 2026 roster opening day. 15, Mason Morris, right-handed pitcher for Daytona. 14, Aaron Watson. I believe he was a high draft pick, second round of this year, 2025. So lots of potential there. I think he's like 18, 19 years old out of high school, I want to say. And then Jose Franco, a guy that the Reds really value because they protected him with a 40-man roster addition at number 13. It pitched at Louisville most recently. Carlos Jorge, a Dayton guy, outfielder, at number 12. And then, oh, shoot, did I put Liberts Aponte on here twice? Oh, no. Caught my error.
Oh, no.
I think, yeah, that I was probably going to put in a different guy, and then I put LaPonte further down. So, yeah. I'll
Jimenez.
I'll try to work that out while you go over these guys because I knew I had somebody. But any of these guys stand out? Any of these top prospects that you'd like to point out?
Yeah, I guess I'll just kind of work my way down. Sheng-En Lin, he's got a really good pitch mix. I really like that they are going the two-way route with him. Because the first year he did play, he had a really good batting average. He was hitting, I think, over 300 and I think he had one home run, but it's also ACL, so it's more difficult than your standard, high A, low A, stuff like that. And then when he pitches, they've been kind of holding him back. He's been pitching about 3 or 4 innings, but he's got a really lively fastball. He's actually playing for the Taiwan team, I think. I don't know, are they in the World Baseball Classic, or I know they're in some kind of league that he's pitching in for Taiwan.
Yeah, I can't say I've been keeping up with Sheng Lin, but I think he's either Chinese Taipei eligible, and there hasn't been many commitments yet to a lot of World Baseball Classic players yet. I mean, there's only been like 3 or 4 USA players that have fully committed at this point. But yeah, I can't say, I can't remember if he's playing any winter ball. I've been keeping up with the Aussie League, and the Venezuelan League just got started. So like shout out to Lourdoy that Karek's talking about. He's pitching out there in the Colombian League. Sorry, Colombian League, Winter League is where David Lourdoy is. But yeah, I have to look to see where Sheng Lin is at the moment.
Yeah, I guess we could go with Nabel Mariano. We'll add him in. He'll be 17. We'll have Liberty Ponte 11.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I can't say I know too much about Nabel Mariano. Probably why I kind of probably missed my brain in terms of what he brings to the table. But I've seen him in some lists with Reds prospects and whatnot, and he's hopefully, yeah. Congratulations on number 17, Mr. Mariano.
Yeah, and I guess for Ricky Cabrera, he had a down year. He had the injury that kept him out, I think, the majority of the season this past year. When he got signed, when he finally played in the U.S., he had a 1.028 OPS in the ACL, and then he got bumped up to Daytona. He didn't do great, but he still finished top 10 in OPS and WRC plus. So he's got a pretty good bat. I don't know where he projects long term in the infield. I know he came up as a shortstop. They've been playing him at third base, and he plays second base. He could be, your second base if everything pans out, and if Matt McLain doesn't pan out 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road, he could be your next man up kind of guy. But it's going to take a lot for him to kind of get going, unfortunately. But I'm not giving up hope on him. I mean, we've seen guys fall down the prospect rankings and shoot back up. So, I mean, Alfredo Duno wasn't even a top 100 prospect before the season started, and now he's in the top 50. So anything could happen. He signed for a pretty good amount of money, and he's still really young. I think he's only 20 or 21. So not giving up on him. And then Mason Neville, like I like him a lot. He's that power bat that you really need. And I believe he's also a left-handed hitter too. So I mean, we could use that for sure, especially if we're not going to go after a Kyle Schwarber or something like that for the left-handed side. And then I guess the last one I'll talk about is Carlos Jorge. I think he's Rule 5 eligible this year. He didn't get added to the 40-man. I doubt a team takes a flyer on him just because he's still, high A, probably double A to start the year. I know he had a pretty scary injury to start the year, I believe, but I guess it wasn't as bad as we thought. Like he left the game on a stretcher, but he was playing a couple games later, so it must have been just precautionary. But and then Nabel Mariano, I guess we'll talk about him. I think he is probably in the ACL this year, if I remember right, just off the top of my head. Infielder, really good player. I don't know a whole lot about him just because you don't really get to see much film on him, but yeah. And then Jose Franco get in the 40-man spot. That's a big deal. I know Karek's in the chat saying he had a rough game today, but yeah. Who are you high on this list?
Yeah, it'll be nice to see a full season of Mason Neville, especially because he ended it so hot, getting right into it with Daytona. But I think also another draft pick is Aaron Watson, seeing what he did. I don't think he pitched. He's only like 18, 19, right? So usually they take it slower with those guys as opposed to like a Louder or a Burns, who are college guys who could jump right into the system. Or no, they took a break with both those guys, right? So like they take it a little bit easy with the pitcher. So like it'd be nice to see what Watson looks like this time next year, and maybe he gets up even further in the rankings or whatnot. But I had texted you, I think, a while back, like looking at the Reds prospects, or at least looking at like the pitchers that are coming through and being like, oh, we're a little bit lacking depth. But if we got guys like Mason Morris and Watson and Jose Franco that are kind of at least doing pretty well and hopefully providing that depth, I think I feel a lot better about our red system, at least in the pitching department, starting the pitching department. So I'm kind of looking forward to see how that season looks for him. I am also interested to see how Carlos Jorge does. Like you said, he is Rule 5 eligible. He's the most likely, I think I've seen, to get picked. But like you said, he's kind of a project. You know what I mean? He's still pretty young, 21, 22 years old, but hasn't really caught on fire. He was playing in the Winter League in the Dominican. Started off pretty decently, but hasn't played at all for the last couple weeks since basically like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So like I think he's either returned home or they're just kind of taking it easy with him, because I haven't seen him make any appearances for the Gigantes in a while. So we'll see how he starts out to start the year. That'll be kind of a big indicator to see what Carlos Jorge is, because I mean our outfield at Double-A is what O'Donnell, your guy Hendrick, and the center fielder, what's his name? I just had him in my head. He was in Dayton last year. Oh crap! But yeah, they've been kind of struggling. They haven't been lighting the world on fire in the outfield at Double-A. So maybe it could be an opportunity for Jorge, if he does well, could get up to Chattanooga in 2026, either at the beginning or sometime, depending on how well he does. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. We've got some stats on our guy Nabel Mariano if you want to look at that.
He had a 49 games, 165 at bats, a home run, 3 stolen bases, 27 walks, 54 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean the stats don't jump off the table. I think with him it's more about potential, what he could become, which is hopefully what you always hope for with these kind of low end, well, not low end, but just lower level prospects. Do they develop into a contributor to a major league roster? And if you're lucky, they become a star.
Yeah.
But
like you said, all those stats were DSL Rojos, DSL Reds down in the Dominican for the summer. And he's only 18 years old, going
he's young.
19. So lots of room to grow for him as well. Any other guys or anything else on these guys?
Nope.
All right, moving on to our top 10. And this one, Ricky had talked about, was a bit surprising. I don't know. I think it's pretty solid from at least my vantage point and whatnot. Obviously, maybe have some disagreements from some other lists or whatnot. But number 10, we got our guy Leo Balcazar. Another guy got protected in the Rule 5 draft, added to the 40-man at number 10. Number 9, Adolfo Sanchez, ACL Red outfielder. Number 8, Steele Hall, that draft pick from this year, first round. What was he, 7th overall draft pick or something like that?
Yeah.
Or 9. I forget. I get it confused. Because there was another guy that got picked 7th recently. Number 7, Cam Collier. Our guy Cam. I put him up a little bit higher than some other lists based on, I think he may be closer than some of these other guys like Adolfo and Steele Hall, and even maybe Leo Balcazar for that. But Leo might actually get the promotion earlier since he's already out in the 40-man. There might be that kind of scenario, but we'll see. He's still got Edwin Arroyo ahead of him. Number 6, Hector Rodriguez. He is probably our best outfield prospect by far and closest to probably showing up in 2026. Edwin Arroyo, shortstop, again, another guy added to the 40-man. Number 4 prospect, Tyson Lewis, guy that I think we're all high on here, has been great coming through the ACL Reds to low A Dayton. and hopefully he might end up Daytona. Sorry, he might end up in Dayton sometime next year. Hopefully, depending on how well he plays. Chase Petty, he's another guy that didn't exceed his rookie limits for service time, so I put him on here. I still high on him. A lot of people talk about how he's still got all those 4 pitches and whatnot. It's just maybe a matter of retooling, getting back his confidence. Hopefully he starts the year in AAA. Or if he has a great spring, he might be on, the open day roster, depending on how well he does and maybe what opportunities maybe if there's injuries or whatnot. Our guy, Alfredo Dano, he is – I know I put high A, but he was in Daytona, and I think I'm assuming he's going to be in high A Dayton the start of the year, so I probably put that on there. And then number 1 overall prospect for the Reds is Sal Stu. Still has that rookie classification going into 2026, and clearly has the guy that's, probably starting at first base probably in March 2026. But, for our time being, if there's anything that happens to him, maybe goes through a funk, maybe they add a first baseman in the offseason, and they might bump him down in the depth chart. So there may be a situation like that where maybe Sal Stu starts in AAA. But at the time being, I think it's his job to lose, at least just from my perspective. But he still classifies as a rookie going into 26, so he's our number 1 prospect based on what Ricky and I put together.
Yeah, I'm really high on Adolfo Sanchez. I was ever since they signed him, because I immediately went to Instagram just to see if he was on there, and he's one of those players that always uploads, him working out in the batting cage, in the field, taking live at bats, doing whatever. He's a really good Instagram follow for those of you that want to check him out. But he improved in like every possible way last year for this compared to last year. This year, he hit 216 last year, 339 this year. On base percentage 356, 474 this year. He slugged 345 last year, 504 this year. He kind of stayed the same as far as like home runs go, but then again, it's also Dominican Summer League, so take that what you will. He walked less, but he did strike out way fewer. So he struck out 60 times in his first season. He struck out 21 times this year. So big improvement. Him alongside Pablo Nunez made the DSL All-Star team alongside pitcher Iker Rodona, which I probably have him like 31 on this list if we were to do a top 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Adolfo Sanchez, he could be like that your cornerstone, center field / left fielder, 4 years from now. Good speed, lively arm. He can gun down runners with the best of them, and he's just really high. I think he was one of the highest paid international prospects the Reds have had ever. I think he was the 5th highest overall in 2024, and he's proven to be worth it so far. And then I guess I'm not out on Chase Petty yet either. I think he got kind of a raw deal in 2025. Just, he gets called up, probably wasn't ready. And then just, you get absolutely lit up in your first game against the Cardinals, and it's kind of hard to you got to be really strong mentally to get over that. And I mean, he kind of showed some every once in a while in AAA. He'd have an outing to go, oh, he still got it, but then he would go back out and walk like 9. But still high on him. If it's funny to think about that, he is the same age, I believe, or is he younger than Chase Burns, and he's been in the organization for going on his third season this year.
I think so.
Or is it 4th? Did we get him in 2022? Was that the year we traded for? Was that the year we traded?
Depends Petty was in the which deal was that? He came over with
2022. That's when it was. So
Yeah.
he's going on his 4th season with the organization, and he is just now 22 years old. He turns 23 in April. So it's crazy to think about that. We forget that how young he actually is. He's younger than Ellie. He's younger than all these players, and he made his debut with the Reds last year. And, granted, it wasn't great, but he still got electric stuff. And if he can get the command down, he could be a solid 3-4 pitcher in your rotation.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you could do what you did with Connor Phillips, and you can tool him through the bullpen, and you would have a dominant fastball coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And yeah, Carrick has been throwing out his list, and his list is just non-debut players. I made this list, Carrick, based on basically players that still will contain their rookie status going into 2026. So Stewart was a late September 1st call up, so he still has that service time not really activated for his rookie status to be exceeded. So that's why I got him in that list. Same thing with Chase Petty and whatnot. But yeah, good shout outs here. I did not. Yeah, Starlin Torres. I was just looking at his. He had some good numbers in the ACL. 1.88 ERA and 38 innings for his time in the ACL this past year. Only 19 years old. That's a good shout out for a possible right on the outside for us. But I think Carrick has him all the way up to number 7 in his. Also, Carlos Sanchez, who split time between Daytona and Dayton. I think was he outfielder? I believe so. He's maybe we do have some outfield depth. Maybe we're undervaluing some guys. So shout out to Carlos Torres Carlos Sanchez. He has him at 14. And then I forgot Ken Vu. There's a bunch of guys that follow us that are big on Ken Vu, and we're high in McChrystal as
He's
well.
like 32 and 33 right there.
Yeah,
Vu and McChrystal.
So shout out to those two guys. We expect big things out of both of those two guys this year, especially because McChrystal's starting in Dayton, and he's going to be the starting catcher there. And he had told us in our interview that he's really trying to really focus on his receiving. On he split time with, big time Alfredo Duno down Daytona. Wasn't catching that much. Played first base a little bit more at Daytona, but now I think he's the number 1 catcher, QB1 as they say, I guess, at Dayton. So. And then Ken Vu, another outfielder. So I guess we got. I guess it's that thing. I think that wave that you kind of talked about, Ricky. I think a couple like I can't remember, maybe a month ago, maybe a couple of episodes back, where like a lot of the real like wave of talent that's going to be coming through is in right now like A or DS or ACL or maybe high A, and they're going to kind of hopefully all come through together. That the class, the Alfredo Duno class, I guess, for lack of a better word, to basically kind of come through 2027, 2028. And then that is going to be that's going to be hopefully a point where the Reds are in a really good spot where they're adding these guys kind of like how they added the class of 2023 into the fold and really took off. That I guess that's what we're kind of waiting for. Obviously, we have a couple of our favorites that hopefully are debuting this year, like Hector Rodriguez or hopefully Chase Petty's back up with the club and whatnot. Edwin Arroyo can make his debut in 2026 now that he's on the 40-man roster. So, but yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that we've got that kind of groundswell of players. Hopefully, we're not going to potentially deal a lot of them, if we have to improve the Major League Ball club, 1 or 2 or whatnot. But I think that wave of players is kind of it'll show up in 2027, 2028, and we'll be really kind of happy to see a guy like Duno, a guy like Adolfo Sanchez, a guy like Carlos Sanchez and whatnot showing up. So that's kind of, I guess, hope for the future if you're a Reds fan, that we've got that wave of talent coming through, not this first cycle, but maybe a couple after that.
Yeah, you look at the official MLB list from this past season, and you look at the number, like the year 2028 on the ETAs, and you got Alfredo Duno, Tyson Lewis, Adolfo Sanchez, Arnoldo Lantigua, Ricky Cabrera's 2027, probably 2028-ish. Like there's positions of need there, and they're all they're all prospects at different positions. So there's a variety there. It's fun. Jean Pierre Ortiz, 2028. So I mean, you have two pitchers. You've got two infielders and two outfielders that could be coming up in 2028. And luckily for us, as much as we don't want to talk about it, it's very unlikely that we extend Ellie. So we're gonna have to fill that need at shortstop, whether it's through Edwin Arroyo and he gets extended, or if you bank on Matt McLean performing, and then you can move him back to shortstop, and then you can move somebody up like a Tyson Lewis at second base. I know he's been playing some second base and some third base with Daytona. Yeah. Ricky Cabrera, if he was to come up before Tyson Lewis. And it's just you prospect listings are so much fun because you never know what you have. Like, you could look at a guy like Luke Holman who could come up in 3 years and be he could become the ace of your staff somehow. Like, it's like, who had Andrew Abbott being an all-star in 2025? I mean, we had people on this, people with knowledge, saying that the Reds should trade him now because he's peaked, and he went out and had the best season of his life.
Yeah. This also is a dynamic for the sport of baseball that's different than many other American sports. Like, you have a situation where, like, basketball or football, you draft a quarterback or a point guard in the first round, and that guy is going to possibly immediately change the dynamic of the team. But for baseball, there's 9 positions and a bunch of starting pitching and relief pitching that needs depth and quality, that you have to have a functional and healthy, farm system to be able to keep churning over like that talent, keep churning over those results. And hopefully with, Tito Francona at the helm, it sounds like from our talking with Trevor and talking with Ryan McChrystal, is that they both are in agreement that they're running things the right way. And both of them are excited to play for the Reds because of the guy that at the top, Francona, is kind of setting the tone and kind of inspiring everybody below him that anything can happen. You just got to believe. You got to work hard. You got to work on the fundamentals and make sure that you guys are, prepared to the next man up. Whatever the situation may be, you're going to step up and perform your role the best of your ability. So I guess that's also the kind of exciting part about this Reds organization, is like some of these guys we're talking about now might be playing for Francona soon and contributing to a winning ball club. Because to be honest with you, Ricky, like Fangraphs said they're going to win 77 games in 2025. They exceeded that. Now they have to keep pressing and getting even better, because there's probably going to be a lot of analytics people that are going to say they're going to take a step back because they overachieved in 2025. Well, baseball is a game to be played. It's not always played, on the computer with all the analytics and whatnot. So hopefully the Reds and all the players in the organization can really take that to heart and really just go out there and prove everybody wrong again. Go out there, win 90 games like we hope they can, and basically, have that farm system supplement that talent and keep this machine going. And like you said, I think one of our first episodes, this could be Big Red Machine 2.0 coming our way.
Hey, you never know. I might die by that take, but
so yeah. Anything else you got with all these guys? And I mean, we can keep going on. I know that Carrick's got a bunch of guys that you can shout out, and we're really appreciative of all the stuff. Like, we go on his Facebook, the Cincinnati Reds Farm System Report, his Facebook page, and post stuff on there. Really appreciative of their group to kind of amplify our stuff. And we like reading I like going in there and learning about different prospects that, like a Drew Davies out there in Australia, playing for his native country and doing some good things out there. Down under, yeah. So shout out to Drew Davies, and hopefully he can play well. I think he's in Daytona as well. Like I said, that Daytona class, that Alfredo Duno class, we're gonna be keeping tabs on them. Hopefully they keep doing great things, bigger and better things every time we check in. So we'll definitely keep you all updated about that too.
Yeah, I guess one final take. Alfredo Duno could be the best player on this entire list, and to go out and to win the MVP of the Florida State League and basically your first full season of playing as a professional. That's not an easy thing to do, and to hit the amount of home runs that he did is not an easy thing to do. We heard Ryan McChrystal, talk about his power. He hits what do you say, 150 miles per hour. When you hit a ball 150, like it's gonna go far.
Yeah.
And not only that though, he seems to have a good feel for the pitching staff as well, which is huge for catchers, obviously. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be playing close to us, so we're probably going to try to get to a game to watch him play, along with some other guys that are in Dayton. And who knows? Maybe we'll make a trip to Louisville and we'll see who I would have as my number one prospect in Austin Hendrick.
Yeah.
And we'll see him, hopefully, potentially, probably not, but I really hope so, make his major league debut in 2026.
Yeah. And Carrick says it well, saying that he thinks our farm system can really jump up this time next year with all these young guys. Like Steele Hall's going to have a full season under his belt this time next year. Tyson Lewis will have another full season basically under his belt to see what he's about. Adolfo Sanchez, all these young guys, Aaron Watson as well, right? So, like, I guess, mark your calendars, November 30th, 2026 or December 1st, 2026. We'll be doing another prospect show to see where the progress has been from this time to next year. So look forward to that. But,
yeah, maybe when we get some announcements on the 2026 international pool, I guess the international free agent signings, we'll talk about some of those guys and see if they get added, because I know Adolfo Sanchez was, he was added pretty high on the list for a 16-year-old. I think, especially being an outfielder. Usually you see your top 30 littered with shortstops and pitchers, and then your guys that are on the cusp of making the major leagues are your outfielders who are kind of more highly ranked. Like this year we're going to see Leo Balcazar higher. We're going to see Carlos Jorge higher. We're going to see Hector Rodriguez, crack the top 10 and stay there probably this year. And I'm interested in seeing who they get this year, because that's one place they're not afraid to spend is in the international market. Because I mean, you can catch lightning, man. You sign Ellie De La Cruz for $60,000. You sign Pablo Nunez for a couple $100,000 or whatever it may be, and who knows what these guys can become. You don't know their work ethic until you get them in your organization and you watch them play.
Yeah, for sure. That's somewhere the Reds could try to, not necessarily outdo the market, but they should probably take a little more risk there, being a smaller market team, to try to get those players that you never know could turn into an Ellie De La Cruz. It's somewhere to kind of really maybe focus. I know they got tons of scouts that probably will have hopefully good scouting reports on who to go after and whatnot. So we'll see about that. I know that, I told you this a while back, like one of our first shows. Like, I don't know if it ever made it to the air, but I think maybe I told you off screen. But like, I went down and saw like all the international scouts and local scouts for the Reds org, and then I compared it to what the Bengals have. And I know it's different sports and whatnot, and like college football is like on every single television, so it's like they don't need a bunch of scouts going all over the place to watch baseball, and they're not watching college football in Dominican or Chinese Taipei or whatever, right? So like it was like 90 different scouts, I think, in the Reds org or something like that, to like 5 in the Bengals. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I understand it's baseball is totally different sport in this context and whatnot. But
but the Bengals have far fewer scouts than probably 90% of the NFL.
Yeah,
and that could be a show on itself. Is the perplexities of how the Bengals organizations ran compared to the Reds, which I think there was somebody, I forget who it was. It was a, major media outlet or something, but they said the Columbus Blue Jackets are the worst ran organization in all of professional sports. And then you go down the list and there's the Bengals and there's the Reds. And it's like, it's just an Ohio list is at that point,
And the Browns
But
in the list.
I feel like they had to have just, I don't know. You get blessed with a billionaire owner who's not afraid to spend. It's just they spend poorly. But you look at, a storied franchise like the Cincinnati Reds, and if you had a competent ownership group that, I'm not saying you need, a billionaire, but if you have somebody that can who isn't, like Shohei Ohtani's contract was more than the net worth of the Castellini family. And that's saying something. Just because there's not a whole lot more owners in baseball who are worth less than Shohei Ohtani. And I get it, but then you add in the fact that you got Juan Soto who's worth more than Shohei Ohtani. So now you got two players that are worth more than an owner of a professional sports team in the same league. Like you can kind of understand it if a baseball player is worth more than like an MLS owner or something, because just based off the financials of soccer compared to Major League Baseball as far as like ownership groups. But I think like the FC owner, he's pretty fairly wealthy, isn't he? Doesn't he own Great American Insurance, I think?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a group like most ownership groups now are now, but it's led by the Lindner family, who the Lindner family, former owners of the Cincinnati Reds up until the Castellinis bought it in 2006 or something, right? So like, oh God, we're coming on 20 years of Castellini ownership. Yeah. Anyway,
I'll never forget the letter.
That's going to be brought up probably a lot, but I guess the thought I was having when you're talking about like how it seemed to be going this way is like it's hopefully going to have some sort of rebalancing when we start to get closer to that CBA talk. Like I know it's going to be a really hard road to possibly get a salary cap. It may not look like a salary cap. It may just pretend to be one, or kind of like how we have the luxury tax of today. It might be a modification to that. Who knows? But hopefully there's inroads to doing that. But like we've talked about and how we this podcast kind of got generated is that there has to be also a salary floor, because there can't be a Miami Marlins that's spending less than the Mets are paying for Juan Soto in one season, right? So it's not just the Reds that are just the beleaguered franchise that doesn't spend. There's a lot of franchise, and obviously the Reds would push back and say they have been spending, and they are kind of tending toward that. Now, is it incremental spending, little by little? Yeah, they're not. I don't. If we're going to be honest, I don't think we're really in the Schwarber graphic, even though, Ricky, I know you want to believe in your heart of hearts that we possibly are. It's just, I mean, he's second in MVP voting. He's on the other side of 30. It's for a business, and we're talking about baseball business. You know what I mean? Like, they don't think they can afford that contract, even if Schwarber does well in the first 2 years of the contract, right? It's just kind of baseball business in the state of city of Cincinnati. Basically, this is why we're talking about these prospects, because these guys kind of give us the best hope and hopefully a glimpse on what the Reds' future is about. But I did want to kind of call you out a little bit, Rick, because you said that your favorite outfield prospect is Austin Hendrick, but I'm pretty sure you got a pretty good inroads to our guy Pablo Nunez out there playing for the Sydney Blue Sox, and just killing it out there. Leadoff hitter, has been throwing guys out at home left and right. Like, yeah. What is the Pablo Nunez like? Is he getting close to Austin Hendrick? Is it getting like there, or is it like, he seems to be closing the gap as far as I can tell.
Well, I'll say Austin Hendrick for me will forever be number one. Just I don't know why. It's just he was probably the first prospect that I was like, yeah, I really like this guy. And, you know, I feel like, I don't know. I'm not making excuses for him, but you get the unlucky draw of whatever happened in 2020. We'll leave that title censored. And then, you know, you miss your senior season of high school, you miss your potential first half of a season of professional baseball, and then the league kind of like realigns the next year. And you know, it's you still got to go out there and do it, but you know, we've heard a lot of players around him, you know, just really talk about how great of a person he is, and I think that's just what it is for me. Um, but Pablo, man, he's going to be a really, really good player. He's going to be a popular player here pretty soon. You're going to start hearing him once he gets stateside and hits, you know, where there's media outlets photographing him making plays. Like, we're getting lucky now seeing him with I shout out the Sydney Blue Sox social media team because they are excellent at putting out content and they're not afraid to put anybody out there. You know, we're seeing it. What was it? The one play, it was Nunez to Murillo at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's two reds right there, you know, like
there was a third red. If it's the play that you're talking about, Drew Davies got threw out at home.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, Drew Davies got threw out at home by Reds prospect Pablo Nunez and tagged out by Reds prospect Jervin Murillo. So it's, you know, shout out to those guys, and you know, shout out Pablo Nunez. He's a good dude. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders from what I've talked to him in DMs, you know, limited translation, but I know we're talking about getting out to Arizona next year, and he seems pretty excited about meeting us too, because he's going to be out there. And also Trevor Kunsel, he said same thing. He's like, if you get to Arizona next year in spring training, let me know and do something. So that's shout out those guys. And it's in the works with Pablo Nunez getting on the show. There's going to be some extra stuff we're going to have to need. We're going to need a translator. I think he might have one. It's just kind of, he's like 13 hours ahead of us now. So it would be really difficult. But I think once their season's over and it gets a little bit closer, he gets to Arizona, maybe we'll work something out. Or maybe it might even be a live show together from Arizona. We'll see. But, you know, shout out, like, Pablo Nunez is up there, man. He's pretty close to the Hendrick level fanfare for me.
We might not have to wait until March. I mean, the one thing I'm kind of really waiting for that press release to come out, or at least the tweets or whatever, is the guys that may get invited to go to Reds Fest in January come to Cincinnati and see our new brand spanking new convention center, which will be nice to see, as it's one of the first events to open up that new convention center, the remodeled convention center. So shout out to those guys. Hopefully we'll get to learn that soon. Now that we're in December, it's less
would they name it now? It's no longer the Duke Energy Convention, right?
I think it's just the Cincinnati Convention Center. They might be looking for a sponsor, as far as I know, because I can't say I've seen it. I think they
could get sponsorship by.
What was that?
Kyle Schwarber when he signs here. Just put his name on it.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Why not? Yeah. Why not? Yeah. It makes sense. But yeah, it's kind of it'll be interesting to see what guys are introduced into the Reds fandom, because there's always a bunch of guys that you're kind of like, oh yeah, I know who this is, but then there's some guys that you've never seen before walking around. So it'd be kind of cool to see that coming out and see them possibly, whoever it may be.
And also the Reds Caravan Tour. You see a lot of prospects you don't normally would think of. I think you see a lot of guys that would be like, your Dayton or your Louisville guys that who could be a potential for that.
Yeah, they do usually. I mean, they did last year. They started the caravan, I think, in Hamilton, Ohio, which is not too far from where I am. But I want to say Brent Suter was out there with a couple guys, Marty Brenneman and whatnot. So unfortunately, I don't think Suter is going to be out there in 2026. But somebody's going to kick off that caravan, I believe, in Hamilton, Ohio, home of Joe Nuxall. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know if you got anything else, Ricky, about Pablo or Austin Hendrick or whatnot. I think we're probably coming to the end of the show. There were some highlights with some guys. Our fall ball update, just to go through that kind of quickly. Only Hector Rodriguez is out there at the Dominican League, and he's kind of cooled off, not doing too hot. He did throw a guy out last Sunday from home or from the outfield, threw him out at home. So shout out to Hector for that. He's not just a leadoff hitter type. Well, actually, he's been batting the 3-hole for his team, Escogido. So like he's not just a hitter in the 3-hole; he can also play some defense. Ichiro Kano has been doing okay. Yao Romero has just been pinch hitting again. He's only like 19, 20, and I guess he doesn't have a real position with his team, Guasave. So like, and I think, they're like bottom of the standings. They should probably get him some more playing time. He got more playing time last week, starting at like I think first base or whatnot. So there's that. David Lordoy is a guy that I think Carrick's really high on, and he was talking about how he had him in his top rankings, but he's a pitcher out there in the Colombian League, and he pitched in their victory on Friday. Relief pitcher, at least for his team in Colombia. I don't know if he might be a relief pitcher at stateside as well. And then I think also another thing that Carrick told me is that I think Edwin Arroyo is going to start reporting to the Roberto Clemente Puerto Rican League. It might be as early as this week. Someone picked up on a post that Arroyo's dad put out there that he might join his team in Puerto Rico in like December 5th or 6th, which is this coming weekend. So keep an eye out for that. Edwin Arroyo, recently protected 40-man, added to the roster to the Major League Club, is going to be playing in some winter league. I don't know how long because they've already started the Puerto Rican League. So I don't know if he's just going to do that for a little bit of a tune-up before he goes into 2026. But yeah, keep your eyes out for that. That's basically the Winter League update. Other than I guess I got to look up where Schengen Lin's playing because I didn't know he was playing at this point. I know there's some qualifiers for the World Baseball Classic, and I've kind of been seeing a little bit of that, like some playoffs to try to get in to play the World Baseball Classic, I believe. But yeah, we'll have to check it out and give an update on that too. So,
yeah, I'm not seeing anything much. I know his social media had some things a little while ago. I don't think he's pitching as of like right now, but I think following the season he was. Let's see, he was on. This is all in language I can't understand. It is. I'll find it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where else he play because usually sometimes Baseball Reference puts in the Winter League stats. Sometimes
the last thing that I have, and this is from his social media. This was in September. He pitched 4 innings, 10 strikeouts, no hits against Palestine.
Huh. That must
be
be
Asian Championship for the Chinese Taipei team.
Okay. I think Carrick's putting out there Edwin Arroyo is actually going to be playing sooner than later. I think that's what he's putting December 2nd. What was that, Tuesday? That's coming out soon. But yeah, if he's playing against Palestine, that's probably a World Baseball Classic qualifier, I would say, for Taiwan.
It's funny reading what the translations from that their language to English. It says, although Ling Xing-in suffered a short turbulence at the start of the game, he quickly stabilized. Like, it's so literal. I like that. It's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully, it's not as dramatic as making it out to be sounding.
Turbulence sounds rough, man. He played in the Asian Baseball Championship, also known as Taiwan Day Showdown, for the Chinese team against a strong rival, Japan, for the current Cincinnati Redskins. I didn't know that was a team. Don't cancel us.
That was a translation. That wasn't us.
He started against Palestine. Okay, yeah, 4 innings, no hits, 10 strikeouts. That's the last I've seen of him this season.
Okay. Yeah, and shout out to him. That's a pretty good outing for him. And yeah, maybe we'll see him in the World Baseball Classic. If I think Taiwan might have qualified if they're right there with Japan going for the championship. So shout out to him. But yeah, it's coming in the show. I think we want to kind of wrap up. Any hot takes before we close it out, Ricky? That you got in there?
No, not this week.
Yeah, I feel like we're at a good spot as Reds fans. We kind of got that thing out of our system where that one guy on X is making everyone think something's going to happen. I think it's good. We're going into winter meetings soon in like a week, so it may get a little bit warmer again. The hot stove might heat up again, at least maybe in a couple weeks and whatnot, and we might get some clarity on what exactly the Reds might be going for or who they can get. Who's still available and whatnot. So we'll get that. And then we got the Rule 5 draft and the lottery also that week during the winter meeting. So we'll get some clarity on who gets picked on the Rule 5. And also we'll probably figure out where they're going to be picking in 2026. You see they switched it up a little bit. And I was kind of disappointed, actually. I think we talked about this. I guess my hot take is this, if we're going to go that, is why are we playing the Futures game on the weekend? There's this hole in the calendar where we play the All-Star game on the Tuesday, and that's like obviously the big tent pole event, right? Everyone's coming to see the All-Star game. The day before is the home run derby, so like cool. Everyone's, and that's a pretty big event too. I think Netflix is going to have it this year, right? Like that's the new media rights deal. So that's going to be interesting. Hopefully Netflix doesn't crash because I heard that it crashed about Stranger Things. So if everyone's trying to log on to their Netflix to see whoever.
I don't think there'll be as many people watching the home run derby as Stranger Things, unfortunately for baseball. But
yeah. Still, maybe there'll be a Stranger Things that gets or some other show gets posted that same day and they crash it. But anyway, point being is that they got a Tuesday All-Star game. Then the games don't resume until Friday after that. There's these 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, of no baseball. Why not put the Futures game there? There's no minor league baseball going on there too. Everyone kind of takes a break, except for like the DSL, right? Like everyone is not playing baseball. You might as well put the Futures game there. Have the guys kind of be around the major league guys. You know what I mean? I don't know if like some sort of like they could watch them play, they could watch them hit the home runs or whatever. But it feels like it's a missed opportunity, especially for us baseball sickos that want to watch baseball the day after the All-Star game and all we're left with in the middle of July is like ESPYs maybe or like a random I don't even know what's going on during the middle of July at training camp for football. I guess we got to get stuck with that. So like put the Futures game on Wednesday after the All-Star game, and then we got another baseball game to watch, and then you just have Thursday, and then Friday we're back at it. That's my take because putting it on Sunday as opposed to Saturday doesn't do anything. I guess it'll be nice because actually the Futures game is going to be on NBC, so it's going to be a big event. So put it on 8 p.m. on Wednesday night. Like you got it on Sunday. I don't know how many people are watching it's probably going to be on like noon or 4 o'clock on a Sunday, and that's going to be nothing. You might as well put the Celebrity All-Star game on TV, which is what they do on Sunday night anyway, right before the home run.
That's usually like your rerun at like 2 a.m. for the next couple days.
Exactly. So I don't know.
I got a take for you.
All right, let's see it.
It's kind of following up on your take. I think, hear me out on this. You do, you add an event to the week. You have a top prospect home run derby.
Okay.
On the same day as the MLB home run derby. And the winner of the prospect home run derby faces the winner of the MLB home run derby and just see what happens.
Yeah. That's funny you bring up home run derby because there's a guy that we know that's going to be doing the home run derby December 6th coming up, Mr. Ellie De La Cruz. And I think your guy Noel V. Marte as well is going to be in Dominican for like a fundraiser. So I guess to give him some benefit of the doubt, he's probably not going to try his hardest, even though it is for charity. At least I hope not, because all that Nick Kroll has had us or led us to believe is that, oh yeah, this guy played the last 2 months, last 2.5 months with a torn quad, and he's still rehabbing in Cincinnati. But he's going to be doing a home run derby. What we do? I don't know. That seemed a bit backwards. I hope he's there to maybe be emotional support for Noel V. Marte. Hopefully he's not actually swinging his hardest and hitting for the fence. I think it's a Vlad Guerrero charity type event or something like that. So I guess,
It is called the I just wrote about it the other day. It is called the La Gente del Barrio Home Run Derby, which it means the people of the neighborhood. It's an event that blends Latin culture, music, and baseball into like a same day kind of event. And the charities for that are the La Gente de Barrio Foundation, the VG27 Foundation, and there's some other various like youth groups around the US and Latin America that they kind of help. And I don't know if you saw the list of players in
Is
the
it
event
crazy?
total. It's insane. I mean,
Soto?
you've got Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Junior Caminero, Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, O'Neal Cruz, Teoscar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, and Ketel Marte, alongside Ellie and Noelvi. So like that's a list, man. Like those are some guys that you would see in a real home run derby, especially Tatis, Soto, O'Neal Cruz, Vladdy. I don't think Jose Ramirez has been in one, but he's got a lot of home run power. He hit a lot of home runs. It's a cool event. They've also got a celebrity softball game. I don't know. I'm not familiar with a lot of Latin music, so I couldn't tell you who these people are, but they've got a pretty star-studded cast of celebrities included too.
Yeah. To go back to my take, Mike's talking about the draft. I'm pretty sure the draft's going to be on Saturday before the All-Star game, at least the first round. They're going to try to put that, I think, on NBC or major network. And then it's going to be on Sunday. There's going to be the rest of the rounds, which is when you're doing the Futures game. So it kind of drowns out probably only us sickos would be interested in like rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however more. Like if we want to put a big event, why don't we put like the draft on Wednesday night then? If you want to like fill up some programming. If you're going to put the Futures game on the weekend, like I don't know, the MLB draft can't be the NFL draft because of we've talked about this in the past.
All right. You've sparked a hot take out of me.
Yeah, put the draft on Wednesday.
Here we
Thursday,
go.
like I'm just saying, don't put it on Saturday. No one's watching Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. Here's my other hot take. I think there should be a MLB free agent signing period.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that I can agree with Rob Manfred on. I think having your top free agents not sign until February is a bit of a problem. Like the NFL stays relevant because they have their schedule throughout the off season with key events. You have the Super Bowl in February, and then within 2 months you've got the draft. And then within a month after that, you've got free agency, and then you got training camp and all this stuff. It's like MLB, you have the World Series, and then you have a non-tender deadline. All right. And then you have, your 40-man decision day. But then like you can sign as a free agent, up to 6 days after the final game of the World Series. I think it's what it is.
Yeah.
Up until whenever, I think there should be, let's just say December 1st through the 14th is like your signing period for like top free agents. It's basically winter meetings. Is you have everybody together, and then you can kind of negotiate, because and that's another thing too that's weird about baseball too, is that their drafts mid-season. I don't think any other sport does that. It's not very common, but I also understand it, because if you're drafting college guys, like their season ends in March or May.
Well, if we go to the College World Series, it ends in like June, July.
Yeah, so it's like I kind of understand that, but I think there should be some kind of signing period, or even if you make it the week before Thanksgiving through the week before Christmas, around that time frame. You give guys 4 weeks to go, all right, if you're going to sign, like, now's your time. Because granted, you can have your second level signings, but like, you see the NFL, like, if the top guys get signed like day one of free agency, it's just what it is. I mean, LeBron made his decision like day 2 of free agency. It's something like that. I just don't like how you see a guy like Jordan Montgomery who goes out and doesn't sign until basically February 16th or whatever. And you can tell that you don't train the same on your own as you would with a team program, I guess. And I get it, you're a professional, you should do your own thing, but there's a thing about when you're with an organization, you have like a strict regimen on what you're supposed to do. If you're not tied to that, you can kind of get away with laxing in that. And I'm not saying he did that, but he kind of admitted to it a little bit, saying that he wished that he had signed earlier. And I think he ended up dropping Scott Boras after that point in the season. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just my hot take. I think there should be some kind of signing period. It would also get more eyes on baseball, I think, should you have, like, let's just say like 2 years ago when Ohtani was a free agent, you have 2 weeks. Okay. All eyes are on baseball because within this 2 weeks, Shohei Ohtani's going to sign with somebody, or whatever. Like when Ellie's a free agent in 4 years or in 2029 or whatever, he's going to sign somewhere. Where is he going to go? Is he going to stay in Cincinnati? Is he going to go off to LA? Is he going to go to New York? Does he go down south and go to Miami? Do they decide to spend money in 4 years? Like, what happens? Who knows?
Yeah. That could be a bargaining chip, something to throw into the CBA talks and whatnot, having more clear-cut off-season guidelines and whatnot in terms of getting free agent signs and whatnot. It's a good question. I don't know. I think there was even like a situation where like Blake Snell didn't like sign until like March or something, like real late, like after spring training like camp broke. Like it was kind of like a weird like. Anyway, it could get weird with baseball because lots of money involved, lots of different agents involved, including. He should not be named, even though I think we named him early in the program. But
whoops.
Yeah, here's a hot take from Carrick. We're going to go here. Like, he thinks the ACL should be longer. It's too short of a season. Yeah, sure. I think a lot of development happens at the ACL level and those guys don't play, I don't think, exactly every single day. It's only, 40, 50, 60 game season, so it's not even half of what some of the minor leaguers do. So it'd probably get a lot of more development in, hopefully it doesn't overdo it in terms of some of these guys coming straight out of high school, putting too much strain on them if they're like a pitcher or whatnot. But yeah, hey, I'll take that. ACL could be longer. And hopefully it's our favorite, it's at least my favorite part of the organizational chart. Cause that a lot of bunch of guys that come through the ACL seem to be just, they catch fire and they get promoted and they keep it going. Like Tyson Lewis, for example. And it's really exciting to kind of see them get into affiliated baseball after they go through the ACL.
Yeah, and luckily for the ACL is that they do have the Bridge League after the season. So like guys, let's just say like Steelhall this year, when he got drafted and signed, he went to the Bridge League in the ACL to get like a little bit of a head start. I know they don't really keep track of stats down there or nothing, but a good Instagram follow if you like following like Arizona content is Troy Collins Baseball Life. I think he basically lives at the facility. He's always, filming something, giving away a bunch of, ACL level prospect gear. I know he had a couple Reds ones not too long ago. It was a Cam Collier signed hat, a Tyson Lewis signed ball, and something else. It was pretty cool. He's kind of like Mike, lives close to the ballpark, goes whenever he can, and just kind of makes a social media following off of it, just based off all the people that he's met. along the way. So shout out him. He's a really good follow for that kind of stuff too.
Nice. All right. Yeah. Any other hot takes you got there?
Nah.
Yeah, you started off saying that you didn't have any, and they ended with 2 or 3.
He got me going because I that home run derby idea kind of clicked in my head when you brought it up. I think it'd be cool. I think there should be a prospect home run derby though. That you don't really, if they do have one, you don't ever hear about it. You know, like the futures players.
Yeah.
But maybe not even do futures. I think you should just do anybody in affiliate ball from let's just say it would be like a futures-esque kind of thing, because like in the futures, like Duno was in low A and South Stewart was basically in triple A at that point on the same playing field. Like you could see, the best, the highest home run potential guys. Like I guess you would see like a Duno, a Mason Neville would be like your couple that you would see if they were to be any Reds prospects in there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be an interesting concept.
And maybe not play them against the major league guys, because obviously I think like Shohei Ohtani would probably crush them. But just they win, they get to hold the trophy together with the major league.
Sure.
Make it a same day event. They kind of get the all eyes on them too. Kind of show off their power.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, then. I guess just to cap it off, I in the spirit of the season, we are coming out of Thanksgiving. Wanted to give kind of shout outs because we're really thankful for all our fans. We're really thankful for all you guys that come out and support us and whatnot. We're trying to grow. We're trying to do our thing here, and obviously we didn't think anybody really would listen to us, but we've grown a little bit in the last 10 months, and it's been great. We want to continue that and keep giving you guys, the best informed we can be. And we're not trying to say we're any type of MLB insiders or whatnot, but we are sicko Red fans is what I like to say. And we got some people that we lean on for some intel from time to time. I know Ricky's pretty well connected now. He might be getting toward that MLB insider or Reds insider territory or whatnot.
Not even close.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess Ricky, just to turn it over to you. What are you, I guess, grateful for in this year of our Lord 2025?
Yeah, I guess first and foremost, I'm thankful for the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I am thankful for you, Roger, for doing all this. I'm thankful for my wife and my family and my kids, and I can name some people. I'll try to keep the list short, but I don't want to leave anybody out. Anybody who is involved in the All Gloves Off media group that we have, Mike, Cheese, Sirhan is officially joining us.
All right.
Anybody in that? Any sponsors that are, somehow, some way coming our way, which is hilarious to think about. Just this tiny little show we got going that where you sit in your basement and I sit in my kid's spare bedroom that he just won't sleep in for some reason. I'm kind of glad that he doesn't, or I wouldn't be able to use this room. I'm thankful for James Rapine. I'm thankful for Reds Daily 4 for, taking a chance on some doofus who puts his thoughts out on Twitter and Facebook about the Reds. And now I can, strangely enough, say that I have, my stuff go out on Sports Illustrated, which is just weird to me. But CincinnatiRedsTalk.com, you can find anything that I write about. I know I've kind of leaned on some ideas from some other people. I know that the Lane Thomas article kind of came from our conversation with Mike Hart. Also, more specifically, shout out Mike from this group that we have, because had I not, started writing with him, I don't think I would be doing any of this stuff. I don't think a podcast would even be a thought. Just it would be some weird idea, But yeah, I could probably keep going, but I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that, because all that, shout out to all the people behind the scenes that, Ricky, you do all the stuff behind the scenes. So they're really appreciative of all your hard work. Mike and Cheese and all them helping us out, launch this thing, going out on our own. Even Jordan and
Jordan and
Doug, shout them out for helping us out at the beginning and whatnot. But also, just kind of all the people that watch, like, Carrick and Mike and all the other people that tune in, Sir Boy Wonder and Fred and all those guys. And also, shout out to Trevor. Shout out to Trevor Kunsel and Ryan McChrystal and your guy Pablo Nunez for interacting with the show in one way or the other. So we're appreciative of them just being a part of this, venture. It's new and maybe not always the most professional, as I have my wife's texting thing go off here on our MacBook. But I'm just really appreciative of all the things that we've been given, and I try not to take it for granted because, you're right. Comparison can be a thief of joy, but I think we're doing something that we're both fully ourselves and fully just trying to be, presenting the Reds in the way that we see it, not trying to, clickbait people into thinking that we're something we're not, or trying to say controversial things just to get athletes to come on here and say something back to us or whatnot. We really do love the Reds. Top to bottom, the organization. It might not always make us happy. It might make us frustrated sometimes. We'll talk about it. But we know for sure that this organization is doing the right thing, and hopefully we can really kind of go on this journey with them to that lofty promised land that we haven't seen since 1990. So, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to be a part of this journey with you, Rick, is because it feels like we may be on the verge of, having all that pain and anguish be,
right there,
just right washed there away with, the ultimate victory. But, we'll definitely enjoy it along the way as well with all of you.
Yeah, I don't think I can say that any better myself. Also, shout out Cam Collier for liking our reel about Clay Snowden's conversation about. I think he just blatantly said I'd be okay with trading him, but I don't think that was the intent of the video. I think it was just like my caption said, Cam Collier didn't have the success he expected in 2025. A thumb injury and surgery held him out until May, and his power was down all year. Could he go on a Sal Stewart type run in 2026 and rise from Double-A to the Reds? And then Clay's like, trade him. But
there you go. Context also matters sometimes.
Yeah. And also, shout out any guest that's ever come on this show. Clay, Justin Latta, Jeff Carr, James, Greg a couple times, Mike a few times, Mike Hart. I'm leaving people off. The two players that we've had, and Ryan McChrystal and Trevor Kunsel. Yeah. I know I was kind of saving one of the clips from the McChrystal interview for Thanksgiving, and I felt that was appropriate to post that one. It was about how much his family has been important to him in his baseball career, and his brother. And I take that to heart with how he feels about his brother, because as a dad of a kid with special needs, it's a different kind of love you have for your kid like that. You love all your kids equally, and you try not to favor one over the other, but you got to give a little more than you kind of expect to. And him talking about his brother really kind of tugged at my heartstrings. It was really cool to hear how much his brother means to him, because I know what that's like.
Yeah, for sure. And you can tell that it drives him every day to be better. And that's the one thing I guess we're getting a glimpse of in this Reds organization is like all these players, man, they're out here to win for your Redlegs because they know it's been a while. You know what I mean? Like history is pretty clear that the Reds have not been great in the last 30 years, at least not championship level. So everyone knows what the goal is. And we, like I said, are hopefully going to be along for the ride with all y'all to get there. And, my last take is World Series 2026 after we play 60 games, go 40-20.
Yes.
It's going to be shortened. I mean, that CBA is going to be nasty. That talk about off-season content. We're going to have to talk about that when it starts to get closer and closer, or at least we start hearing more rumblings about what may or may not happen. But that's podcast for another day.
Yeah, I guess I'll save my take for that on another day too, because
Could go on.
that'll be another hour.
Yeah. And the problem is we actually haven't heard much. It's been kind of quiet on that front.
That's what scares me.
Well,
That's what scares me.
I don't know. It's sometimes better to not say anything than, what is the phrase? It's better to think, or better that people think you're an idiot than open your mouth and remove all doubt. So
Yeah.
So there's that, and we know that our commissioner loves doing that. So
Yeah, in our ownership group.
Well, yeah. They're honestly, they don't, at least the CBA thing, I don't think they've said a word about that. But that's, I guess, a positive thing you can say about the Castellinis.
Yeah, I mean they've been quiet, but they're usually quiet about a lot of things. Except for Phil. Phil just randomly chimes in.
Yeah, it could be always worse. It could be Nick Kroll talking. So there is that. But yeah, anything else you got, Ricky, before we wrap this up?
No, that's all I got.
All right. Until next time, Reds fans, go Reds.
Go Reds.